On this edition of Around BCC, we spend some time looking at the activities taking place at BCC's Attleboro Center. Governor Patrick makes a stop at BCC to talk about the future of community colleges. BCC looks to expand in Fall River, and we profile a husband and wife who both used BCC to jumpstart their careers. Welcome to Around BCC. I'm Keith Tebow. It's been a tradition here on the show for the past couple of years that we spend some time going to the satellite campuses of Bristol Community College, and for the third year in a row, we're going to do that again. This month, we are focusing to our northern part of our coverage area. We're in Attleboro at the Attleboro Center, and I'm joined today by the new Dean of the Attleboro Center, Rodney Clark. Rodney, thank you and welcome us back to Attleboro.
It's great to be here. Absolutely, definitely.
Now, you're the new dean of the Attleboro Center. You were hired, I believe, just before the academic year, correct?
Right. Just during early part of August, came in. But before that, you may remember that I spent a good 10 years or so as the dean of admissions at the college. So even though my office was in the Fall River campus, I made it out here to Attleboro and the other campus locations as well. So I have a decent pulse read on the different locations and the different people who service those areas.
Tell people a little bit about your background, people who may not know you, who may be seeing you in the Attleboro area for the first time. Tell people about Rodney Clark.
Well, first began in a career of finance, and thought that I would want to pursue the area of financial services, and had done that for a little bit, worked at Fidelity Investments a number of years, and really got to a point in my career where that no longer interested me. Even though I enjoyed the work experience, I enjoyed working in downtown Boston, I enjoyed the salary and all those things that go along with it, but I just got to a point where I just noticed some change within me and literally fell into higher education. It was not something that I was looking for, but literally just fell into it. I was at Fidelity and was in graduate school at the time, got laid off, but before that, I've been thinking about changing careers nonetheless. So the timing could not have been more perfect for me to really get a sense of the direction I wanted to go in, and went to a career fair at a community college, and it was there that I literally stumbled into higher education.
Wow.
Was not thinking about that at all. And I do a number of adjunct faculty assignments as well. And again, not thinking myself as a teacher, but yet fell into that. And so one of the things I often tell students, both from my enrollment management background as well as in the classroom as an instructor, is that you never know. You never know where life will take you, and a person's interests will change, and just go with it, go where your heart goes, and go from there.
As you said, you were the director of admissions. Was that the official title?
It began as director of admissions, and then there was a type of how would I say?
Some title changes.
Yeah, some title changes, and mine was one of those, and it became Dean of Admissions.
Dean of Admissions.
Yes.
How did that role help you to get where you are here? You talked a little bit about it in your opening statement about you had known the atmosphere, if you will, of community college and BCC in particular up here in Attleboro. How did that help you? I guess expound upon that. How did that help you to be now, you know, the dean here in Attleboro? Well,
one of the things that I think was great was that in the role of admissions, you really do work well with students, both the traditional students still in high school looking to matriculate into a college setting, as well as those who are older students who perhaps through employment challenges or need some kind of skills to make themselves that much more promotable. So I had a sense of both traditional and non-traditional age students. So that combined with a pretty good handle on the whole enrollment management piece, it really set me up nicely to move into the role that I'm now in as overseeing both Attleboro and Taunton. So that's really helped me quite a bit.
Now, what about in terms of Attleboro in particular? Did you see some trends in terms of in admissions when the center was open originally at the old location, the old high school, and now when it moved here? Did you see that, boy, that this is really going to be the success that it really has turned into be?
Well, we saw this coming, at least I did, and I thought about this where prior to this location, we used some space on County Street in Attleboro, did that for a few years, and that really worked us well, but it was really challenging for us with regard to parking. We did not have adequate parking to accommodate the numbers of students who were coming our way. But even before that, we were offering classes evenings only at the existing Attleboro High School.
Yeah.
And I knew that that was just not going to work well for us. I mean, we made it work for us, but I knew that there was untapped potential there. And what I was thinking about was that the reality that there are no higher education institutions close by. An individual would either have to go across the border into Rhode Island or travel into Bridgewater or some other location, but there was really nothing close for Attleboro residents to take advantage of. So I knew that once we established a presence here and combined that with offering some space for Bridgewater State University, we knew that that would go well for us. One of the things I've noticed just in my few months being here is that it seems to me, and I've not studied this per se, but it seems to me that we have a much more traditional age population here.
Really?
And so that's interesting where we recognize we have to do even more with our outreach activities to the different high schools, both public and private in the area, because we know that they're coming here. This is an option for them.
Could that be an urban/suburban type setup? Because Attleboro, even though it is a city,
right,
it is more suburbia in this part
right.
of our service area than would be New Bedford, Fall River.
Right,
so
right.
Is that maybe why we have more of a traditional age student here?
I think that's part of one of the reasons, certainly. And again, we find that just by having the types of support services in place here, so it's one thing to draw people into the college,
right.
but by having just a full-fledged academic support center with a writing lab and tutoring services available and disability services also here, people are finding out that they can come here and there are structures in place for them to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Now, for people who don't know, we're on Field Road
right.
in Attleboro, which is former Texas Instrument
yes.
complex.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the third or fourth academic year? I lose track of when the ribbon cutting took place.
It must be the fourth.
It must be the fourth, I believe.
Because we began here in fall 2008.
Right.
So 08,
9,
9,
10, 11.
10.
Doesn't seem that long,
No,
does it? But
no,
it
not
is.
at all.
How has Attleboro grown? Let's talk a little bit about the enrollment numbers. It seems like Attleboro, since it's made more of a full-time presence here, even
right.
on County Street, that the numbers keep going up. That tradition still
It's still
true.
true. It's still true. Even though we're trying to strengthen our enrollment and outreach activities
right.
in the area, but it's just been mind-boggling just to see how attractive this location is for people. Even though sometimes you hear these anecdotal stories of people are not always sure about the actual location,
right.
But once they get a sense of who we are and where we are, people are coming. They're coming in droves. And I think largely because not only is it a nice facility, an excellent job was done to renovate the facility, but we have the kinds of programs that really resonate in this area. Mm-hmm. And just think about it, even where we are holding this discussion, it's in a science lab.
Right.
This was unheard of not that long ago, mm-hmm. Where we offered the traditional English and history and psychology classes right. and math and so forth, but to be able to hold biology classes and chemistry classes here and have dedicated labs for those courses, right. it's very, very attractive.
And there is still a number of academic programs where students don't even have to go to the Fall River campus. They can take their entire course load here and get a degree.
Quite right.
Has that number expanded as well in terms of full programs that students can take from soup to nuts here in Attleboro?
Yes, it's grown over the years, and it's fantastic because, just as you said, Keith, what happens is people can come here, and depending upon their transportation issues, they can come right here. We see students who walk, who take the bus, who drive here, and this is really convenient for them. So there's something like 20 different programs here available for students
right.
who can start them and finish them right here in Attleboro.
How many of those students are you seeing? Do you have an idea about students who are they're not going anywhere else but Attleboro?
I know.
Except to graduate.
Exactly. That's a hard question to answer, to be honest with you. I know that overall enrollment, we're right around 1,200 students or so, which is really extraordinary to think about. Because I remember our humble beginnings at the Attleboro High School where we barely had 100 or so students. Right. So to mushroom in this way, to grow in this way, it's really a testament to the quality of instruction that's here and the types of support services that are available to people. And look, I'm not naive. I understand, too, that word of mouth is also a powerful tool, right. where people come in and they talk to their friends about how wonderful it is here, and it's true.
You mentioned that this is a full-service center.
Yes.
It's not an official campus. It's New Bedford Campus, Attleboro Center.
We're getting
I
there.
I don't know about the nomenclature or think I can understand it, but you offer full service. There's a learning resource center, a library, there's a writing lab, reading lab, there's support for disability services, and also equally important, and we've seen this in both the Fall River campus and the New Bedford campus, is the need to service non-traditional students,
Yes.
students who are coming back to school who may not have had their high school diplomas, those in adult basic ed, and that's also been successful here. Talk a little about that.
No, that's really worked well for us because we recognize that depending upon a student's background, that they may not have completed their secondary school education for whatever the reason.
Right.
And we have a adult basic education program that uses space on the second floor of this facility, and it's wonderful because once a student finishes that, they complete their GED, they can essentially walk downstairs and engage.
Register for classes.
Yes, yes. They can enroll at the college, they can matriculate, they can apply for admission, and they are here. And so that's really worked well for us. Just having that model in place for people, that's really worked well. On top of that, in addition to the support service that you mentioned, we have representation here from admissions, financial aid. Students can take placement testing. They can enroll for their classes. We have a bookstore available here as well. So in addition to everything else that's going on, a student finds that this is really a home for them, where they can really reinvigorate their education and move on to the next level.
How about co-curricular activities? Is that also available to some students in some form?
We do have some student clubs available,
Right.
and we try to make it open-ended for people to decide how a student wants to run that.
Right.
By pulling together the appropriate amount of students, that's fine. Up until, I think, last year, we had an anime club where students met regularly, and I think they even attended some conferences. And so that's the type of thing that we're really excited about, where students do more of that. But I'll be honest with you, it's still not nearly as robust as I would
Sure.
like here in Attleboro as well as in Fall River. But I think that is probably an example of where our students are,
Yeah.
where they come into the college, whether Fall River, certainly here in Attleboro,
Right.
where they come in and they have a real tight time frame. They come in, they do their course.
They have other obligations.
Absolutely. So with regard to family and or work, they come in, they do their thing, and they're gone.
Yeah. How important is it to have sharing this building with Bridgewater State University? I'm sure there are a number of instances in the 4 years that you've both been here,
Right.
that, you talk about students in ABE going from the second floor to the first floor, maybe reverse, BCC students going from the first floor to the second floor to get that next education at Bridgewater State.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, Bridgewater is one of the most popular destinations for our transfer students, followed only by UMass and a number of other private schools. So having them here, it is wonderful. Now, I will tell you, though, that most of their classes are held in the very late afternoon, early evening hours. So depending upon a student's availability,
Right.
they may be somewhat limited in that regard. But nonetheless, that possibility exists for many other students who can do that.
Right. Now, your other responsibility, the other hat you wear, is in charge of the BCC activities in Taunton.
Yes.
And they're at the Friedman Middle School. I believe it's the
Correct.
second year of that. I think
Yes.
over the last year they moved to another school. Tell us a little bit about how that's working out and how the people in Taunton are being served.
Oh, that's really been wonderful for us. We're using a corner of the Friedman Middle School, as you mentioned, of course, which is in Taunton. And that's really worked well for us. We have computer classes there, English, certainly psychology and math and speech and history, and just a wide range of courses there. And that's really worked well for us. I know that if we had our own building, much like we do here in Attleboro, it would grow even more. But given what we have and the type of space that's been available, working in concert with the superintendent's office and the staff there at the Friedman Middle School, that's been a real nice partnership for us. We've heard nothing but good things from students who would take classes there. And it's really worked well for us. In fact, we added a class there this past, just for the spring semester in computer technology. And it's my understanding that we'd never offered that there before. I'm not sure, but I don't think that we have.
Right.
So we found that there were enough of a critical mass of students who
Right.
expressed interest in it, and we offered it, and it's really worked well for us.
How important is that going forward to try to meet the needs not only of the student population but also the area workforce to meet their needs? And that goes back to workforce development, which of course
Right.
BCC has been heavily involved with
Sure.
for years. But how important is it to tailor specifically this Attleboro area to those needs?
I think we have to do two things at once. We have to be all things to all people as much as we can. So the workforce development piece, clearly, we're providing the type of job training that helps people to be in the best position to provide for themselves, to provide for their families. So they may come here, finish a certificate program or an associate degree, and they're ready for employment. But there are others who will come to Bristol as really as a leverage point in order for them to move on to a four-year school. So we have a lot of our students who transfer to four-year schools as well. So we're trying to be as relevant as possible in reaching out to the community and finding out, well, what kinds of programs should we offer here that are most relevant to this workforce, to this region today. And that may change every few years. We may have to put aside certain programs and add others. I'm not sure. It's an internal discussion that we're having at the college, but we're just trying to be as cutting edge as possible to make sure that we're meeting the needs of this population. How
has the local area, not only legislative delegation, but the mayor, I mean, I know the mayor was very supportive of all this in the past. Still a champion of BCC, I would think? Very much so, although he's been very busy this year, certainly with his re-election campaign, successful re-election campaign. But we've worked with legislators, both current and past, who've been very supportive of my arrival here and the college in particular. It's just been really wonderful for us. And so we're glad for that type of support, and not just from the political environment, but also from the business community as well. Very, very supportive. In fact, the types of even non-credit classes that we offer through the Center for Workforce Development, we're trying to reach out to those communities as well. Well, Rodney, we appreciate your time. Congratulations, belated. Thank you, sir. So congratulations, and we'll talk to you again soon. Wonderful. Thank you very much. We'll have more of Around BCC right after this. Welcome back. Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick paid a visit to BCC last month to seek input on his plan to potentially reorganize the state's community college system to standardize workforce development opportunities. The governor met with BCC President Dr. John Sprague about his plans, then visited with students in the culinary arts program. During a press availability following his visit, the governor wanted to allay fears that any restructuring does not mean campuses will lose local control of their institutions, and that what BCC has done in the area of workforce development will play a role on how his plan is implemented.
I will say that BCC is a wonderful example of having of a community college that has very close working relationships with the business community in the region where it operates, and as a result is very much, if you will, a model for what it is we'd like to see more of through the system as we elevate the work of workforce development.
President Sprague says his meeting with the governor was constructive, but despite the governor's claim of no loss of local control, the devil is still in the details.
Well, I wouldn't say we have no problems, but there's need for further clarification and some of the elements of it. But, you know, I think with all the discussion about local control, we're losing sight of the fact that he has elevated the community colleges with great attention across the Commonwealth, and he is providing more money. He's asking for more money for the community colleges to do even more in terms of workforce development, which is so badly needed in the Commonwealth. So the question about further clarification is we're agreed on the ends, and just a matter of fine-tuning the means.
Governor Patrick says he will continue to seek the consult of President Sprague and others as his community college plans take shape. Good news for the BCC campus in Fall River, as plans are in the work to expand to the city's waterfront. The college was part of a press conference last month to announce the development of the Commonwealth Landing project on the Fall River waterfront. As part of the project, BCC will be moving its workforce development and adult basic education program into 15,000 square feet of the renovated mill. Developer Anthony Cordero says the presence of BCC will be a catalyst for the rest of the project, which includes the development of retail and restaurant space.
Because of what BCC has done, Bristol Community College, and I want to thank you both.
And Jack Sprague.
and Dr. Sprague, which was very, very helpful. Dr. Sprague is a personal friend, and he believes in our vision. He was part of the OED team for how long, Ken? 15 years. And he's heard about the waterfront, and he had a vision, and he believes that this is a well-served area for the students to come down. If you think about it, they can come to class, they can go to grab something to eat, they can walk the boardwalk, they can go to the park next door. I mean, it's a perfect setting for the school.
Vice President of Workforce Development, Lifelong Learning, Grant Development, and External Affairs, Joan Menard, says this project is a perfect fit to grow the program.
We really want to continue the work we've been doing for the last 30 years, and this will give us the opportunity to have more students, more facilities here for them. We already have some space in this building that we're using for our Green Center, and we're going to be using this for our workforce development and adult basic education.
The plans are to have the program moved into its new space by around June 1st. Menard says the expansion will result in approximately 20 new jobs. Time now to present the next installment of Alumni in Your Community. We spotlight a husband and wife who both chose BCC to begin their professional careers.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Kozak. I graduated from BCC back in 1979.
Hi, my name is Paul Kozak, and I'm a graduate of BCC from 1985.
I grew up in Swansea, Massachusetts. My interest for a kid was just like the normal kid stuff, bicycle riding, hiking, and that kind of stuff. I went to Case High School. I graduated in 1977 from Case. When I was a teenager, I needed to have braces done. And the orthodontist at the time, Dr. Sullivan, was mentioning to my mom about this new program at BCC. It was just started in the early 70s, and it would be a good field for me because I'm a very inquisitive kid, and I always enjoyed going to his office and talking with all the girls, and they had such a grand time when they were working, and I said, this is the kind of place I would like to work at. So he mentioned that to my mom, and we started looking into that. I was very fortunate to get accepted into the dental hygiene program right out of high school. They only accept about 22 students at a time, and because of my good grades, they did accept me. I was so happy. I was accepted at Cape Cod Community before BCC, but BCC is so much closer that I waited to send in my acceptance to Cape Cod Community and waited for BCC. I graduated in 1979, and I found my first job with Dr. Doherty in Somerset. It was only one day a week, so I needed to look for more days. And Dr. Goldstein in Taunton was hiring, so I worked part-time for him as well. I worked another year for him. And then I actually needed full-time because I want to buy a house, you know. I need more hours. So Dr. Steinoff in Fall River was hiring for a full-time hygienist, so I went to work for him for 5 years. After 5 years, I worked for I went back to Dr. Goldstein's office and continued to work for him for 26 years. He just retired in July, and now there's a new owner, and I'm working for him, Taunton Dental Center.
I grew up in Somerset, Mass. I graduated in 1982. When I was in high school, I kind of wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. Kind of a typical kid. Wanted to be everything from a submarine captain to, you know, a business tycoon. I just wasn't quite sure at that point in time. After high school, what I basically did was, I still didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but I took a couple of classes at BCC actually. I think I took a criminal justice class, a sociology class. I was working at the time, I actually worked in a retail company that no longer exists called Bradley's. And did that for a couple of years, and then I went back to school full-time at BCC. I decided to go into the business transfer program. At that point in time, I wasn't quite sure what aspect of business I wanted to go into, but it kind of gave me a nice round core of, you know, the various elements of business. You have finance, accounting, marketing, management. I graduated in 1985, and I decided to go to, at the time it was called SMU, Southeastern Mass University, now UMass Dartmouth. I did my 2 years there. I got my bachelor's degree in finance. After that, started looking for a job. Back in 1987, I graduated. In 1988, I entered the banking industry. It just happened there was an ad in the newspaper, and I applied for it. It was a credit analyst position in a local bank called Durfee-Attleboro Bank. Then Durfee-Attleboro, which was part of a big corporation called Multibank, merged with 3 other banks. And at that time, the economy was starting to fail, and they set up a workout department. And I actually helped set up that workout department. We moved up to Brockton, and Durfee had merged with 2 other banks, and we became, the surviving entity was called South Shore Bank. South Shore Bank and Multibank was acquired by Bank of Boston. And I ended up working for Bank Boston, their appraisal area, reviewing appraisals, analyzing appraisals, things to that effect. And then I actually came back down to the Taunton area for a very short period of time as a lender. After that, I think I was a lender probably about a year, and I had the opportunity to join a small bank in Taunton, in the Taunton area called Bristol County Savings Bank. And that's going back just about 17 years. I'm now a vice president of Bristol County Savings Bank. I've worked primarily in the commercial side, again in loan review, workout, foreclosures. I do a variety of things. It was actually kind of a chance happening. At the time, both of us were kind of joggers, and we were at a track in Somerset, actually the high school track, and I was working, and Kathy was working at the time. And I happened to be stretching out at the time, getting ready to go for a run, and, which is something Kathy never does. She came over to me because she saw me chewing gum, and she asked if I had any gum.
I don't chew gum. I don't like gum. I don't recommend chewing gum.
And the funny part was I had sugarless gum, and given the fact that she's a hygienist, it was a home run.
We have been married for 19 years.
19 years?
Oh, good. I got it right. And we thoroughly enjoy the outdoor life. We enjoy hiking, and we enjoy
geocaching.
Geocaching. That's my favorite right there, is geocaching. It's where you use technology to actually find hidden treasures in the woods, and it can be very challenging at times.
Kayaking, biking. We're very outdoorsy.
Rock climbing. We belong to the Rhode Island Rock Gym. It's all fun stuff.
Yeah. Health, fitness. We just, we like spending our free time together.
BCC helped me achieve my career, and it's been a wonderful career, and it's a very fulfilling career. I've got to see, being in one practice for 25 years, I've got to see parents having children, their children, growing up, graduating. It's like, these people are like family to me. It's been a wonderful, wonderful ride.
I think BCC gave me a good foundation to start out with, because like I mentioned before, I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go in terms of life after I graduated from high school, and it just gave a solid foundation. It gave me a little bit of direction. It helped me interact with people and decide what pursuits do I want to follow, and I recommend it to anybody.
That's all for Around BCC this month. We leave you today by taking a look back at the art exhibit Then and Now, featuring Chuck Butcher and Angela DeSpirito, held last month at the Grimshaw Gudowitz Art Gallery. I'm Keith Tebow. Thanks for watching.